Welcome back to the Dirty 55 Nightmare. We got that 66 drug up in the driveway. All the junk we drug back with it. Let's take a look at this old thing and see what we're working with here. So this old truck was in good shape. It's already attracting some stray animals. He'll probably jump down here. Do a walk around to this thing. We got the free custom Betty Boop floor mats with it. Some extra junk parts in the back. I'll make that old stray cat jump down. Oh, he's gonna show you all his stuff. So this old truck, man, this truck is in good shape. Has a couple of floor patches, but they did a decent job. I'm gonna go in and weld them in. They had them riveted in. There's one on each side. But if you go under there, there's not that much rot that they patched. So it's gonna get welded on the top and the bottom. Of course, the rockers are gone. The reason those rockers are still the factory color is because somebody just stuck a rocker patch. Here, I'll show you. I still got it. Somebody had just taken these rocker patches and just screwed them on top. Boom. Done. That's how the used car people do it. Shit's done. Sell it. And that's how that happened. But as you can see, it's been like that so long that even the rocker patch rotted out. So that's where we're at with the old, I don't even know what we're going to call this thing yet. We'll call this thing Dirty 66 or something, as my buddy John calls it. We got the later model cross member. Let me open the hood on this thing. Alright. Real nice truck. It's already been stripped by previous trade victims / owners. It's changed hands quite a few times between people that I know. It's got the later model cross member, motor mounts, the steering. I'm going to use the early model, the original 66 lower A-arms, because they had the real nice solid bushings on them. And then I'll put the newer ball joints in those, use the newer spindles, use the newer upper A-arms. Man, this thing even attracts trash bags, just random trash bags floating around out here. So we got them springs out of that 65 salvage truck I had. I'm not sure if those are lowered springs or just factory that somebody painted. But they're gonna be lowered springs one way or the other. I got 5-inch springs coming for the back. We got a sweet ass wagon wheel. No idea what that's off of. Same thing on this side, just had a rocker patch panel over the original rot. Pretty sweet. I'll make a patch for this. Some of the patch that they did is still there. I'll cut this little piece out and make a nice piece for it. The rocker has most of this on it, the rocker patch panel. Really nothing to do, really. A couple hours worth of patch work. Whole bunch of rubberizer underneath. Cleaning it, treating it, and then rubberizing it probably the most work. It had a seat out of something. Unidentified seat. Maybe somebody knows what the hell that thing came out of, but it's in good shape. Everybody keeps trying to steal it from me. We got a free random torque converter. I have no idea what it came off of, what it was meant for. I'm assuming this truck was a standard on the floor. It has a clutch pedal and a hole in the floor, but it also has a column shift. Like it was a 3 on the tree or something. So I don't know. It's got the good old-fashioned no power steering, but I've got the power steering off that 65. So that'll probably go in there. It's got the sweet custom mini sliding glass window that nobody's ever seen before. I know all my friends that work on these trucks forever have never seen that little sliding glass before. Don't know where it came from, who made it, who sold it. None of that stuff. We already talked about these Betty Boop. Somebody was doing some custom trailer hookups here. Oh, somebody put a metal floor on this bed. It's not bad. If you look underneath it, let me see if I can get you a picture underneath. It's not a bad job. They took all the wood out, so there's nothing rotten under there. They put the metal. Looks like they just put a strip here to hold it and bolted it all down. Only hole it had in the bed was right here. I started patching that up a couple days ago. I just put a square piece in there, and oh, it had one more hole right here. Patch that up. Got a lot of this stuff treated. And these the bottom of the cab corners. Just little stuff. So as for the engine, since I'm not going to rebuild this entire truck like old Dirty 55, it's going to end up having all this old heavy frame, whole bunch of heavy stuff. She's going to have a big engine. So I went and swiped that's a 10 bolt 5 lug that I'm not going to use because I want to use the original width. Apparently that one's wider than the original 12 bolt that's in that truck. Anyways, went and swiped a 454. We're going to throw that bad boy in there. There's all the pistons out of it. Everything was in real good shape on the engine, so I took the honing tool and scarred up the cylinders a little bit, get them some nice fresh honing. Got gonna reuse all the stock pistons. There's all the stock junk. Sold the little small block I talked about last time. I pieced it out. I did pretty good on it. I think it was much better to piece them engines out than trying to sell the whole thing and make a little money on them. Yeah, here's what we got here. So that 454 had these old truck small port heads. I haven't measured yet how much meat's on them, if I can just blow them out and make them bigger, or if I'm just gonna go find some oval port heads somewhere. I got the engine cheap, so I'm not worried about the cost and things like that. We got the comp springs, comp push rods. These rings I bought but were 60 over. I gotta send them back to the guy I bought them from. I guess they were new old stock. Got a lot of new old stock stuff in here. I got a couple of sets of head gaskets in case I find them. Not head gaskets, intake gaskets. Cheap set of black valve covers. Got the milling oil pump setup, oil pump shaft, ARP stud. I'm probably gonna stick this old Predator on there. So I'm curious how that's gonna run. Looks like my Ziploc bag leaked all my oil out of my new lifters. They just don't make them like they used to. So if you need to oil your lifters, don't trust one Ziploc. They're not made like they used to be. But yeah, there's a whole ball joints, tie rod ends, all the stuff for all that old suspension to freshen it up. I got a little aftermarket brake booster. I'm going to put some power brakes on there. I've already got an old master cylinder for disc and drums. Since we're going to be doing disc and drums, I bought a nicer oil pan gasket. You know, my experience with big blocks is sometimes you're going to have to get the pan off of it for, you know, a rod bearing or something. But I'm a Pontiac guy, and it could just be a Pontiac thing. I found this old ass timing set, Fireball timing chain set. It's not a double roller, but I got it for 20 bucks. And I think it's all hardened good stuff. I mean, it's pretty old, I think, but it was never used. I found a lot of this new old stock on eBay. People just dig this stuff out of storage rooms or something, I don't know. And they try to sell it. So we got a Elgin cam. My whole bench is a mess. Elgin cam. It's just a 1/2 inch lift. Nothing big. Just a bumper up a little bit. We got the nice push rods. One thing I never skimp on is the push rods, the lifters, and the springs, especially the springs and the push rods. The lifters, if I don't plan on running a high RPM, something like that, I'm not gonna buy no real expensive lifters. But them push rods, you know they'll bend. But that's all we got going on with the Dirty 5.5 garage, completely packed. Total disaster. Hopefully I'll have time this week to throw that engine back together, because I got it all cleaned. Block was perfectly cleaned. She's back together with some real nice Cleveite rod bearings. You can see the assembly lube coming out. I got her a little bit too clean. She got a little rust coming up on the crank there. But all my journals are oiled. I ain't worried about that. Yeah, real nice engine block. Got it all cleaned up, ready to go. As you can see, the crank's already in it. It would have already had the pistons in it, except I had bought those rings and didn't figure out they were the wrong size until I was ready to put a piston in there. Cherry Bomb Vortex, a couple of 10-inch wide Cooper Cobras with smoothies. You know, just old school cool. It's another reason why I want to keep the narrow axle, the 12 bolt that's in that truck, because I want those 10s to stay under the fenders. And apparently that 10 bolt that I got sitting there is about 1.5 inches wider than the old 12 bolt that's in that 66. So I want to keep the 12 bolt, and I saw Speedway sells axles, and they're 400 bucks. Comes with axles and 2 drums, and you just convert it to 5 lug that way. I think they're 30 spline is what the 12 bolt is. They're just 30 spline axles with 5 lug pattern. So that's going to make my life a lot easier. It's a little money, but also it's no time to just change out 2 axles. You got to open the diff anyways. It comes with a new gasket that's already $20-something. Plus the drums that cost however much. Plus the time saved. I think that's something I'll splurge on. But I got the grill. I think I said last time, we got the cell panels for the side of the cab. I gotta buy more brake line stuff. We got the plastic gauge. We'll check all them rod bearings. Crank bearings are perfect. We put Cleveite crank bearings in there. Had to get a new harmonic balancer because the old one fell apart whenever I pulled it off. I got her all marked up with some fingernail polish stolen from my daughter. But that's all we got going on at the old Dirty 5.5 garage. I got a lot of oil sitting here because my wife's truck needs an oil change. I got a set of Moogs sitting here for the Dirty 5.5. The lower ball joints for the lower A-arms. I still hadn't got to that. I redid the entire front end of that old 250 recently. All new ball joints, all moved, drag link stuff. You know, a new hub. It had one hub that was questionable. New seals on the Dana. Now it just needs to be aligned. It's got not a real bad alignment right now, but it still towed that old 66 back here just fine. So I can't complain. I think that's about all we got going on right now. Of course, we got the, we're going to try out this Lucas break-in oil. It actually wasn't that expensive. It's high zinc. Yeah, this is not a roller. It's a flat tappet 454. It's an older one. Not a roller. I got this intake for $160 or $180. And the reason I bought it is because it had what looks to be kind of a real close match to those heads that were on that engine. Now hopefully they're not that far off, and maybe I can blow them ports out on them heads and use those heads, because I'm not trying to make a whole lot of power up top. The whole reason for going to the 454 was to get enough torque to move that old heavy truck, since I'm not going to rebuild the frame, not going to make it lighter. The original plan was to gut that thing out and make it a race truck, but it's in such good shape, I'm not going to be able to do it. I just wouldn't be able to live with myself. Now this truck, there wasn't nothing left of this truck, so the stuff I did to it to make it light doesn't bother me at all. But that truck's in too good a shape. And you can see this truck has become a catch-all. I'm sure it's the same way for a lot of people trying to do projects on their own. I don't know if we talked about the 700 R4, which I'm probably not going to do. I just don't want to mess with the cable and all that and making a linkage for that Predator carburetor and trying to make all that work with a 700 R4. I think it's going to get a 400 in it. To get a 400 or to get this little 350 in it. This little 350 out of the truck had a stall converter on it. And I haven't opened it yet to see if they did anything on the inside. But surprisingly, it even had the dust cover on there. I think that was one of the first things people usually got rid of back in the day. Yeah, this is just a whole lot of nothing video. Stuff that's, the stuff's here and ready to go. So like and subscribe, ring the bell. I'm out.